They found the tracks still warm. The train was gone. No crash, no bodies. Just silence where millions once moved. Someone stopped time, blinded the system, and walked away unseen. This wasn't luck. It was planned. A door had opened in the dark night. The question is, who was already inside? At 2:17 a.m., train 904 did something it was never supposed to do. It slowed down, quietly, smoothly, deep in the middle of nowhere. The tracks ahead were swallowed by darkness. No station. No signal lights. Just endless forest pressing in from both sides, thick and silent. Inside the engine cabin, the low hum of steel on steel filled the air, steady and hypnotic. For the driver, this stretch of track was familiar. Too familiar. That's why the sudden drop in speed sent a cold ripple through his chest. Nothing on the dashboard explained it. Train 904 wasn't carrying passengers. It carried something far more valuable. Two sealed cargo cars at the rear held unmarked steel crates, heavy, silent, and guarded by paperwork so classified that even the crew didn't know the full truth. The train was meant to pass through this zone without stopping. It always had. The radio crackled. Static. No response from control. As the train rolled slower, the driver leaned forward, squinting into the darkness. Then he saw them. Three figures stood beside the tracks. They wore reflective railway jackets, the kind seen on maintenance crews. Their boots were clean, their posture calm. One of them raised a signal light and waved it with practiced precision. Green. Then red. The universal command to stop. The driver hesitated. Something felt wrong, but nothing looked wrong. Against his instincts, he pulled the brake. The train came to a full stop, its massive weight groaning as metal settled into silence. The forest seemed to breathe again. One of the men approached the cabin, his face hidden under the shadow of a helmet. He knocked once. When the door opened, the smell of cold air rushed in. The man smiled politely, said there was a signal fault ahead, asked the driver to step down for a quick check. That was the last clear moment the driver would ever remember. Minutes later, the engine cabin was empty. No struggle, no alarm, just a train sitting alone on dead tracks, its heartbeat fading. Far behind, unseen and unheard, the cargo cars waited. And somewhere in the dark, a plan years in the making was finally moving forward, without resistance, without noise, and without mercy. By the time anyone realized train 904 had stopped, it was already too late. The alarm did not sound loudly. It sounded late. By the time railway control noticed train 904 had missed its scheduled checkpoint, nearly 40 minutes had already slipped away. At first, no one panicked. Delays happened. Signal interference was common in remote zones. A supervisor marked the screen and waited for the system to correct itself. It never did. The digital map showed something impossible. Train 904's tracking signal didn't freeze. It didn't break. It simply vanished, as if the train had stepped off the map. Within an hour, search teams were dispatched along the route. Police expected twisted metal, sparks, maybe a derailment hidden in the trees. Instead, they found perfect tracks stretching forward in both directions. No damage, no debris, no sign of chaos. Just silence. Then, several kilometers away, an officer noticed something that didn't belong. A rusted side track branched away from the main line, half buried in weeds and dirt. Official records said it had been abandoned for years. But the steel rails told a different story. Fresh grind marks gleamed under old rust. Bolts were new. The track had been repaired recently and carefully. Investigators followed the line into the forest. The air felt heavier there, as if the trees themselves were hiding something. At the end of the siding, they found deep impressions in the gravel. Marks left by a stopped train, but train 904 was gone. What remained was worse. The cargo cars had been opened with precision. No forced locks, no broken seals. Inside, the steel crates were missing, every single one. Not scattered, not rushed, removed in an exact order, as if following a checklist. There were no footprints, no tools left behind, no tire tracks leading away. It was as if the train had unloaded itself. Satellite data later confirmed the nightmare. For exactly 18 minutes, train 904 had been diverted off its path before all tracking systems went dark at once, all together. Not one by one. That meant someone had access. Someone who knew where the blind spots were. Someone who understood the system better than the people guarding it. As officers stood in the empty forest, one question echoed louder than any alarm ever could. If a train carrying millions could disappear without a trace, who, exactly, had been watching it the whole time? The break in the case came from a detail so small that almost everyone missed it. While the investigation stalled and pressure mounted, a junior analyst sat alone in a dim office, replaying system logs line by line. Train routing data, cargo authorization, maintenance access. Hundreds of names appeared across the files, but one name appeared everywhere. Daniel Croft. At first, it meant nothing. Croft wasn't a criminal. He was a logistics supervisor, quiet and dependable, the kind of man no one noticed in meetings. He arrived early, left on time, and never raised his voice. Married, 2 children, no debts, no enemies. Too normal to be dangerous. But the data didn't lie. Croft had clearance to adjust schedules, approve cargo documentation, and authorize maintenance windows. Not all at once, unless he knew exactly how to move through the system. Investigators brought him in for questioning. Croft sat calmly under harsh white lights, hands folded, answering every question without hesitation. His voice never shook. He even smiled once, politely correcting a date on a document. To the officers in the room, he looked relieved to be helping. Then, the financial records arrived. Over the past year, Croft had withdrawn cash again and again. Always small amounts, always just below the level that triggered alerts. When asked, he blamed gambling. Late nights, bad luck. He said it casually, like someone confessing to an embarrassing habit. Still, there was no proof. For a moment, the case almost slipped away again. Then, 2 days later, police went to Croft's house. The lights were off, the garage was empty. Inside, the rooms were clean, too clean. Clothes were gone, family photos removed from the walls, children's toys missing. No signs of panic, no forced entry. The family had vanished. Phone records showed Croft's mobile had been switched off that morning. His work badge had last been used the night before the robbery. The quiet man no one suspected was now the center of everything. As investigators stared at the empty house, a darker realization set in. Croft hadn't acted out of desperation. He had acted with preparation, patience, and confidence. Which meant one thing. If Daniel Croft was only the visible part of this plan, How many others were still hidden in the shadows? The first safe house was discovered by accident. A farmer reported strange tire marks near an abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. Inside, police found nothing illegal. No money, no weapons. Just empty crates, heavy-duty gloves, and a detailed hand-drawn map of the railway lines. The paper was worn, folded, and unfolded so many times it felt personal, like something studied late at night. This wasn't the work of thieves acting on impulse. As more locations were uncovered, a pattern began to form. Each place had a purpose. One was used for storage, another for rest, another for planning. The crew had moved like ghosts, never staying long enough to be seen, never leaving behind enough to be proven guilty. Slowly, investigators identified them, not by faces, but by function. One had once driven trains for a living and knew how machines felt, not just how they worked. Another understood signal systems so well he could blind them without leaving a trace. One managed logistics, turning official access into an invisible weapon. And somewhere behind them all was a fifth presence, never recorded, never named, only referred to in fragments as the one who funded everything. The deeper police dug, the more unsettling the truth became. This robbery wasn't rushed, it was rehearsed. Old records showed test runs with empty cargo trains, all dismissed at the time as routine errors. Maintenance requests perfectly timed. Training manuals borrowed and returned. Nothing illegal on its own. Together, they formed a blueprint. The crew didn't just steal the money, they respected the process. Every step was measured, every risk calculated. Even the escape had been planned in silence. But something was wrong. Evidence suggested the money had never been moved in one piece. Instead, it was divided, released slowly through separate paths. That kind of patience didn't come from fear, it came from confidence. And confidence usually comes from protection. Investigators began to realize this crew wasn't acting alone. Someone had promised them safety. As the case files grew thicker and the suspects thinner, one question refused to go away. Someone powerful enough to stay invisible, even now. Was the crew still free because they were smarter than the system? Or because the system itself was shielding them? The call came in just before sunrise. A burned-out car had been found near the coastline, half buried in sand, still warm when police arrived. The smell of smoke hung in the air, mixed with salt and rust. Inside the driver's seat was a body so badly burned it was impossible to recognize at first glance. No wallet, no phone, no plates on the car. At first, it looked like an accident. Then they found the watch. It was expensive, but ordinary, except for a small scratch on the back, documented years earlier during a routine insurance claim. When dental records confirmed the identity, the room went silent. It was Daniel Croft. The man who vanished without a trace. The man investigators believed had escaped forever. He was now dead, alone, erased. But the fire hadn't destroyed everything. In the pocket of his jacket, wrapped carefully in heat-resistant plastic, officers found a small flash drive. It felt deliberate, like something meant to survive. As if Croft knew how this would end. The files inside were precise and calm. Logs, names, timelines, routes, proof of how the robbery worked from the inside. No emotion, no excuses, just facts laid out like a confession written in advance. Then came the final file. A short audio recording. Croft's voice was quiet, almost tired. He spoke of regret, of mistakes, of trusting the wrong person. He said the plan was never meant to end this way. He believed the crew would disappear, rich but alive. He was wrong. The recording hinted at meetings that never happened, messages that went unanswered, and a growing fear that someone was cleaning up loose ends, one by one, silently. Croft said he had decided to turn himself in. He never got the chance. Investigators searched every lead from the flash drive. Some trails ended in shell companies. Others vanished into offshore accounts, protected by layers of secrecy. A large portion of the stolen money, tens of millions, was never found. And the name of the one who funded it all never appeared. No voice. No face. No record. The case was eventually closed, not because it was solved, but because there was nowhere left to look. Yet one question still lingers, long after the files were sealed.